with discountjuicers.com to do another exciting episode for you, and today I'm super excited. What I have here is the all-new Bugatti Vento blender that is now available in the USA. Now, the reason why I'm so excited is because this takes blending to a whole new level. I mean, forget about all those stupid infomercials you've seen on TV using blenders, or even those high-power blenders that you know at this time, some of the other major brands such as Vitamix and Blendtec. This blender here blows them all away. And let me share with you guys one of the main key differences why this blender is so good. Instead of being an AC powered blender or alternating current blender, that's the current that comes out of your wall, this is a DC powered blender using brushless motor technology. For those of you guys that keep up with electric cars, you guys know that the Tesla car are the fastest cars in the world. And they use DC brushless motors. They're able to get this, performance on a DC brushless motor that's powered by batteries. Now, the Bugatti Vento blender is not powered by batteries, it's powered by the wall outlet, but it converts the AC to the DC and then feeds that to the DC powered motor, just like what's in the Tesla, to give this a peak horsepower rating of 4.27 horsepower, more powerful than any other blender on the market. So in this episode, what I'll be doing is I'll be unboxing the Bugatti Vento blender for the first time in the USA and actually demonstrating it for you guys and actually showing you guys how easy it is that even a kid could use it. So the first thing I'd like to say is that you may recognize the Bugatti name, and yes, you'd be right. That's that same company that makes high-performance sports cars and supercars. And the closest I got to a Bugatti sports car when I was a kid was I had Bugatti Hot Wheels. I think they still make some of those today. But Bugatti also makes many other products for the home. And their foray into smart appliances, which is another thing that distinguishes this between other appliances they may buy, is also a big plus. So without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this. Now, the first thing I want to say is that, this is a professional commercial model that you could also use in the home. So not everybody's going to be able to afford this blender, and this is a quality piece down all to the packaging. I mean, this is probably some of the nicest packaging, heavy-duty packaging, padded packaging, and just well designed. I mean, they had a designer design this, so it's not just some square box with a motor on it like many blenders. This actually will look nice in your kitchen. So let's go ahead and unbox this and check it out. To unbox this guy, all we do is we lift this off, and we can set it aside, and now we have the blender here right inside. So let's go ahead and open this guy up and see what we got inside. Oh, we got a lot of stuff packed really nicely. So here is the Bugatti blender. Comes with a lot of different things here. It comes with an instruction manual. This is actually a multi-language instruction manual. I see Chinese in there, I see German in there, I see Spanish in there, I see French in there. I don't even know if what languages are not in here. Italian, English, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Netherlands, and some other ones I can't even read. So, instruction book. Let's see, next we got in here, we got, we have a nice recipe book. So this is very important. If you're getting a blender and you want to make dietary changes, you don't know how to use the blender or what recipes you can make, they have a nice recipe book in here that shows you all the different things, some healthy and some not so healthy, that you can make with the blender. Now, unlike other blenders on the market, you're not just limited to the recipes in the book. What I will be talking about later is actually, this is a Bluetooth enabled blender. Now, you do not need to use the Bluetooth feature if you don't want to. This will work as a standalone machine. But if you want to, you can use the Bluetooth enabled feature where you will have an endless supply, unlimited supply of different recipes on the app that you could actually download and program into the blender so it knows what speeds to run, it knows how long to run. It also and the app will tell you what ingredients to put in and when to press the next button, so it could blend the next step, and it'll tell you what to do next. I'll be sure to cover that near the end of this video. So yeah, it comes with a nice color instruction book and of course the privacy card and warranty information. So the first thing I want to say is that this machine is taking warranties to the next level. This machine has a 20-year motor warranty. Other manufacturers on the market maybe have a 7-8 year motor warranty. This machine has a 20-year motor warranty, so you can be rest assured the motor unit on this machine will run for 20 years. I mean, it is a DC brushless motor, and that's one of the reasons why this machine is so expensive. It's just not another AC motor that are quite inexpensive to make and are a dime a dozen. You know, these motors are a pretty penny, and these are some of the highest quality motors you could find in any blender that I've seen so far. Of course, next we have a couple different parts here, including the top. And the top is a multi-function. Number one, it has a nice heavy-duty top, and it has actually a nice gasket ring that is actually removable. So this is actually unlike other blenders. You know, they've really taken design to the next level to think about all the little things on how a blender could be improved, and literally they've done it in this blender. And that's what I want to see every company in blenders do. Why haven't other manufacturers done this? Because they're like the good old boys and, oh, we got the best blender. Well, hey, now they're gonna have to wake up, because this thing, after, you know, I test it and do comparison tests, you'll see how much more superior this blender really is. In addition, this top piece, besides just being a top, is actually a shot glass. It measures out 25 or 50 or even more milliliters. So you can actually add things to your blended mixture. Now, besides the top, you got another couple pieces here. Every blender, once again, should come with this, and Bugatti, once again, have thought of this. They have a nice spatula. This is a rubber, actually a silicone style spatula. So this allows you to get in there and scoop out all your delicious mixtures, whether that's a smoothie, you know, a nut-based dressing, your soups, out of your blender and get it into your bowl so you don't just wash it down the sink. This is something that really bothers me about other blender brands. None of them come with something as easy as a spatula that's specially designed. So I've had to go out and buy my own spatulas to spatula out my blender container, and it's especially not fun to rinse out extra, you know, orange juice macadamia nut dressing down the sink when the macadamia nuts may cost $20 a pound. So you don't want to waste any of that good stuff that you're blending, because I know you guys are blending the highest quality organic fruits and vegetables, and that stuff ain't cheap, man. So yeah, nice spatula included. Let's see what else we got in here. Of course, they have a tamper. So if they can, oh yeah, John, big deal, they got a tamper. You know, a lot of blenders these days comes with a tamper. What the tamper allows you to do, it allows you to push things in the blender so it doesn't just basically stop blending. So it allows you to get more blade contact time. But once again, Bugatti is taking it to the next level, and besides just having a tamper that allows you to push things in, they also have a new feature on the top of this blender. I don't know if you guys can see that. On top of there, there's a little LCD readout, and when you press the button here, it actually is going to tell you the temperature of the mixture, whatever you're blending. So this can be important if you're making a soup and you want it a certain temperature. You know, this blender, with running it in just 8 minutes, could get a soup up to 175 degrees. This is how powerful this blender is. Now I know for some of you guys, you do not want to heat up the foods you're blending up, and you want to keep it below 118 degrees. This will allow you to know the temperature, the precise temperature inside. Maybe you want a nice warm soup, but you don't want it too hot. You can know how hot it is instantly by pressing the button on the top of this tamper. So multi-function use tamper. Why hasn't anybody else thought of this before? It takes the engineers and designers at Bugatti to do this, because once again, this is the high-end blender. This is probably the best blender on the planet that I've seen and will be testing to date. Next, let's go ahead and what else? We got some Bugatti jar markers. That's pretty crazy. So these little Velcro things will go around the jar to mark your jar, to let you know, like, oh, if this is your jar, his jar, if you got what recipe in it, it's the dairy-free recipe for your wife, or it's the one with the dairy for you. You got little markers. Once again, I mean, they think of everything. Oh, and even better yet, it comes with a special cleaning brush to get down in by the blade to clean the blade out efficiently each and every time. I mean, once again, all these different accessories no other blender comes with. Every other blender should come with them. I'm glad Bugatti's taking the steps to make it happen. So over on this side, they have a little diagram. I don't know if you guys can see that, but basically it says blend, emulsify, whisk, knead, ice crush, grind, cocktail, soup, and the B-Chef function. These are the pre-programmed buttons on the machine that we'll be showing you guys in a minute. Let's go ahead and remove this guy. It feels like I'm on the X-Men or something and coming out of caves. Alright. Alright, there we got it, man. Packed nicely in here. This thing is not going anywhere. Number one, we got the motor base. Now, this is one heavy motor base. This is probably one of the heaviest motor bases that I felt up at this time. Most other motor bases are lighter because they don't have the power that's built in to this motor base of the DC brushless motor. Let's go ahead and unwrap it. All right, so here's the motor base, nice shiny black and really nice design. I mean, this is really smooth, clean lines, will look good in your upscale apartment in New York City, or whether you got a standard, 1970s kitchen like I do. All right. Anyways, on the bottom there's certifications. This is ETL certification. This is designed in Europe to European specifications. So to me, that's like a higher standards in some cases than the US. So I like that a lot. Now this is a 1,000 watt motor right here, and this is set up for the US model. 115 power, or 110, 120 power, and it also has, once again, like I mentioned, 4.27 horsepower in there. Now, 4.27 horsepower, that may be an impressive number because it may be twice as much as other blenders on the market, or some blenders say 3 peak horsepower. 4.27 horsepower, this is the most horsepower. But besides just the horsepower, which I think is an impressive number, what is more important to me is the sheer torque. I mean, horsepower is good if you're pulling a wagon like they did in 100 years ago when we didn't have cars and stuff, right? Because you need the horsepower, but blenders, they're not pulling wagons. What they're doing is they're blending up, so what they need more is that torque. And this is the initial snap. Like if you guys have ridden a motorcycle before, like I have a 600cc motorcycle, and then you get on that, you just floor it, and it's like, vroom, and it takes off. I mean, or if you get in a Tesla, right, in the insane mode or whatever, you sit down and it just jolts you from 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. Or if you've ever been on a roller coaster, right, and the roller coaster starts to accelerate just really fast off the line. That is the torque, and that is what really is required in blending, and the reason why the DC brushless motor blender is so good is because it does not lose torque like other blenders on the market. This blender has 50% more torque guaranteed than other AC powered blenders, and this is one of the main reasons why it is a superior blender than all the others on the market at this time. So next I want to go ahead and show you guys the different controls on top of this Bugatti blender here. There is basically a little sticker thing that will come off, and once you peel the sticker off, unless you memorize the buttons, you won't know what they are. So I'm going to just leave this on for a while until I get to memorize what the buttons are and what the controls and what they all do. They have basically pre-programmed functions. So this is a button for nuts if you want to grind up nuts. This is a button for making dough. It can knead your dough. This is a button for making cocktails. Probably not going to get used in my household. This is a button for crushing ice, make your margaritas, your daiquiris, or whatever. They have a stop, and then also they have a pulse, and they also have a little dial knob. And this dial knob is kind of like a little your volume control on your TV. It allows you to control the speed. So this has 60 speeds, unlike other blenders on the market. 60 unique speeds, that range from slow to fast, so you can get the proper consistency every single time. And it has a speed here and also a timer. It also has to let you know if it's Bluetooth connected. And there's also a button to start and a button to stop, a button for soups, smoothies, sauces, and you got that B button. This is the B Chef button, and this is when you will be downloading recipes to the blender from your Bluetooth enabled phone, whether that's an iPhone or an Android phone. The app will download the recipes into the blender so that you can run the blender. Let's see. Oh, other things I want to point out on this blender base is really cool. They got this sound dampening pad right here, so that will keep the blender quiet, along with the DC brushless motor and the improved carafe. This blender is more quiet than other blenders on the market. I know some of those blenders even have sound enclosures because they're so loud. This blender, depending on what blender you're testing, is 12 decibels, potentially more quiet than other blenders on the market. Now, besides this sound dampening pad, one of the reasons why I wanted to take this off is to show you guys underneath the sound dampening pad. I don't know if you guys can see that, but basically underneath the sound dampening pad, there's basically a little like rain gutter. So if any water, juice, liquid, blended smoothie should get underneath the pad, it's not going to sit there and seep into the motor and damage your expensive blender. They actually basically made a little rain gutter, and the rain gutter basically ejects out a hole in the bottom of the machine. So this basically will put it on the counter instead of down the blender. Now, once again, another feature that I've never seen on any other blender, and it just makes so much sense that every blender should have this feature so that you don't damage your blender. It's completely amazing. So let's go ahead and put this back on. And let's go ahead and continue sharing with you guys the Bugatti Vento blender. All right, let's go ahead and move this motor base out of the way there, and let's get this last piece inside the box. And this is the BPA-free carafe, which is the heart of the Bugatti blender. I really like this box a lot. I'm going to save it. But anyways, what I want to go over now is the carafe. This is another reason why the Bugatti blender is superior than any other blender on the market at this time. So number one, this carafe is BPA-free. States it right on the bottom of the carafe. And I like this carafe because it's nice and heavy and durable. In addition, they have a high performance bearing and blade assembly down in here. You know, one of the things I see with cheap, inexpensive blenders, especially those knockoff blenders that, you know, are really cheap, they just use off-the-shelf bearings that tend to fail prematurely. And in some cases, the manufacturer and the blender company is not around to get your replacement parts, so you got to really throw away the blender. I'm glad to say that they've specially engineered and designed these bearings to handle the heavy duty use this blender will get. So some other things I really like about this carafe, it is actually marked up to 2,000 milliliters. Now for those of you guys that aren't in Europe, this is 67 ounces max at the max line, although you could fill it a little bit, you know, more. Maybe up to 72 ounces total. I don't necessarily recommend going above the maximum line. So I like that this blender carafe holds a large volume. I also like this carafe shape. It's basically circular at the top and goes down to kind of a square at the bottom. It's really nice. You have easy access all the way down, and especially with that spatula, you could really get down in there and get all of your mixture out. So I really like that a lot. Now, aside from that, there are some safety features unique to this blender that are not on any other blender on the planet. Number one is that there's this little rod here that's a magnetic sensor that will not engage and allow the blender to turn on. Even if you have the carafe on, this blender will not start unless you have the top on properly, because this will depress the bar, which is a magnet, which then lets the blender know that the carafe is on, plus the lid is on. Furthermore, you cannot also start this blender up without the carafe in place, because besides just having this one magnetic sensor, there are 3 other sensors in here that must engage the safety switches on the base. And this blender can go on in different configurations, and no matter the configuration, which way it's turned, as long as the blender is on the base and the the top is on, the lid's on completely, the blender will start up. So I like that a lot. This prevents you from running the blender with it open and having your stuff spew all out over the kitchen. I've had that happen before, and for some reason I don't see how this would happen on this blender, although it has happened to me on other blenders. I've had the top on a Blendtec actually in the olden days, had it running, and the top just didn't really fit on well, and the top flew off while it was blending and made a mess everywhere. If the top should become a jar or come off, which I don't think it ever will, the blender will stop itself on an instant. And that's another, feature of the DC motor blenders. When they stop, they stop. They don't just, slow down and then, stop. They stop on an instant. So I really like that. Now the other thing that sets this blender apart is the blade design. So let's go ahead and take this off. You could unscrew it yourself. I do not recommend you guys remove the blade assembly. Normally, you would usually keep it inside the machine. This is good if you do need to replace the blade assembly, but I'm taking it out today to show you guys this unique blade assembly that I believe blows away other blade assemblies on the market. So what we're looking at now is the patented blade assembly here in the Bugatti Vento blender. And now they have standard blades on here, and these blades are kind of sharp a little bit where I'm feeling it, but the way they get their sharpness, unlike other blenders, actually they have some teeth on there, and at the middle of the teeth, that's where they're the sharpest, see? Now, the Bugatti engineers explained to me that these are hardened blades, number one. Number two, a blender works by two principles. By beating, so it literally beats things up to basically crush it into smaller sizes, and also it does a cutting action. Now, in my opinion, most blenders on the market work by mostly beating with some cutting, right? For example, the Blendtec, right? That blender is a beating blender. If you go down and feel the blades in the blender, they're not that sharp at all. And this, in my opinion, is a horrible way to blend things up, because you don't get that nice fine consistency, the smaller particle size, which means you will get better absorption of the food because they're broken down to a finer level. On the Bugatti blender, you have some beating aspects of the blade, but also you have the sharpness of the blade as well to cut the produce or whatever you're putting in there to get that nice fine consistency, along with some beating action as well. In addition, they got this unique blade design here at the top that will help pull a vortex and get everything blended. So yeah, I really like the blade design on here, and I'm curious to see how long this bearing and blade assembly will last me. On Blendtec models, I used to have maybe like bearings go out on me every once a year, maybe every 6 months sometimes, and then on a Vitamix once every couple years. My bearing assembly would go out due to my high usage, because I'm a high user of blenders. So I'm really looking forward to testing this out and putting through its paces to see, how well this blade design and bearing assembly is. The other thing is that you have metal on metal contact. So the splines here on the bottom of the blade assembly go into a metal splined here on the top of the motor base to run it. So that's really good also. Yeah, so let me go ahead and get this assembled back up, and we'll show you guys how this Bugatti blender works. So now I'm ready to share with you guys how the Bugatti blender works. First thing I want to do is share with you guys this motor base. So when it's plugged in and turned on, it's going to just say off, and nothing you could press on here, including the start, the stop, any of the pre-programmed buttons are going to work until you put the carafe on. So even if we put the carafe on, right, we can still press the buttons and it's not working. John, is the blender defective? No. Check it out, we forgot to put the top on. Without the top on, the blender will not function. So there's a little cutout on the blender, and that goes where the cutout on the pour spout is. We're going to go ahead and push that all the way down. And then you heard that beep. Now the little the lid engages this little rod, which engages a magnet, which allows it to come on, and then now it beeps to let you know it's ready, and now you could hit any of the pre-programmed functions. what I want to do first for you guys is actually turn this little dial here, and we're going to go to speed 1. You guys can see that it's running very slowly. This machine runs from 400 RPM, revolutions per minute, all the way up to 15,000. The cool thing is, as I said before, if you press the stop, this instantly comes to a grinding stop. It doesn't take time to stop. I mean, one of the things I get impatient with is when I'm done blending, I hit stop. I want to take the blender crap off, and if you do that too soon, you could actually mess up your spline gear on there, and I've actually had that happen to me before. This one stops instantly, so the instant you press stop, you can take it off and drink your smoothie, pour out your soup, or whatever you're doing. Next thing I want to do is go ahead and show you guys, we're going to go ahead and crank it up to speed 1, and then we're going to crank it slowly up to speed 2, 3, 4, all the way up. And as you guys can see in here, we're creating a nice little vortex. This is like a little tornado inside there. As we spin it faster and faster, you can see it get more, turbulent in there. And this, if we had ingredients in there, would be grinding them all up, blending them all up. Now this is at speed 60. This is more quiet than other blenders on the market, although it is still a bit loud. And once again, once we hit stop, instantly comes to a stop, and the noise is completely gone. And instantly all the, the vortex in the mixture is gone. So that's really cool. And, that's how you use the manual mode. Just super simple, super easy. That's the mode I like the most because you can control it. They do have these pre-programmed functions. So you want to make a smoothie, you can press the smoothie button. And then it's going to go ahead and let you know that it's going to go on a 1 minute, 35-second timer. Then you're going to hit the start button. And this blends it for a second to pull everything in, pulls it for a second to pull everything in, turns it off, and it goes on this cycle that they've determined works the best for smoothies. It's going to run it for a total of 1 minute and 35 seconds at the different speeds, varying the speeds, turning it off at certain points so that you get a complete blend each and every time. I really like when it turns off. It turns off on an instant and stops, as you guys can see on the close-up there. As you guys can see, it's counting down finally to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! Instant off, and your smoothie is all ready to be drunk. So yeah, each of the programs are run a little bit differently. What I think I'd like to do next for you guys is actually share with you guys how you can actually grind your grains, including rice and wheat, into flour. And what I'm going to be doing today is grinding up my favorite flax seeds into a flax powder or flax meal. So now I want to show you guys how you can actually turn flax seeds, which is that's what these guys are, into a flax powder. Now, one of the most important seeds you guys could be eating and probably aren't are the flax seeds. The problems with the flax seeds are that they are small little seeds, and actually they're quite hard. So you don't want to just try to, take them and eat them and chew them up and swallow them, because let me tell you, they will come out the other side whole. Now, flax seeds are probably one of the highest sources of the omega-3 essential fatty acids that you can get from a whole plant food. And I would encourage you guys to include more of the omega-3 essential fatty acids in your diet, because in this day and age, so many people eat way too many omega-6 fatty acids, and in improper imbalance, it may cause things like inflammation, and your body's just not going to work right. So what we're going to do is a very tough task for most blenders. I always do this when I test out blenders to see how good of a blender it is, because if you take flax seeds and put it in your household $20 blender, you'll grind them up, or you'll try to grind them up, and you'll see basically you'll have like cracked flax seeds. They will not grind up to a fine powder-like consistency. I've done this test in the NutriBullet versus the Vitamix, and there's a noticeable difference on how the Vitamix did better than the NutriBullet, but I expect the Bugatti to, really do well. So let's go ahead and put these flax seeds in there and show you guys how the Bugatti blends this up into a meal. Now, the most important thing is to make sure your blender is dry, completely dry to do this step. If it is at all wet, it's not going to work because the seeds are going to start sticking to the water in there. So I took a towel and dried this out because we did just blend the water in there. We're going to pour 1 cup of flax seeds there in the blender. We're going to go ahead and put this top on. And to grind up flax seeds, you could use the nut button here, which is also good for things like grinding coffee beans. And what I'm going to do, because I'm not so familiar with the blender, is I'm just going to go ahead and do it on manual mode. So what you want to do is you want to basically crank this up to the highest speed you can and run it for approximately a minute or so. So we're going to go ahead and hit the start button. The display comes on. That means it's ready to work. There's a timer. It's at 0 and the speed, and we're just going to go ahead and crank this up to 60. Alright, so that ran a total of 60 seconds. Now, one of the challenges I think I had this time is because I was storing my flax seeds in the fridge, which I encourage you guys to do. They did, get some moisture in there, and that's why we're seeing some, moisture or fogging inside the carafe here. So this may not have worked as well as I would have liked, but we're going to see. Alright, so despite there being some moisture on my flax seeds, which I don't recommend, there's a really nice texture on the flax meal. Now this did get a little bit warm through the friction, but man, this is a really nice, fine texture. I think this is done quite good. And dry blending is just one of the many features the Bugatti Vento blender will do. What I want to get into next is probably one of the features I will use the most, which is actually blending up smoothies. So next, what I want to do is share with you guys how easy it is to make a smoothie in the Bugatti Vento blender. And I have an assistant today, and my assistant is my nephew. And what's your name?
Nico.
That's Nico. Yes, Nico. How old are you?
I'm 7.
You're 7 years old. Wow, you're so old. Oh my gosh. Now, do you make smoothies at home?
Yeah, because when my mom goes to work, she makes smoothies for the morning because she's used to drinking smoothies, not like eating stuff.
Alright, and then your mom makes you the smoothie, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever made the smoothie on your own?
No.
No, alright.
But sometimes I help you make a smoothie, right?
Yes, he helps me make a smoothie when he comes over to my house, and I'm sure he helps his mom make a smoothie, but today, with the Bugatti Vento blender, he's going to pretty much do it himself. Alright, Nico, you ready to make a smoothie?
Yeah.
Alright, so what we're going to use today is the freshest of freshest ingredients. I want to encourage you guys to get your kids to eat more fruits and vegetables. They're the healthiest foods on the planet, and the Bugatti Vento blender allows you to do just that. So we have a variety of ingredients today that Nico will put in the blender and get it started up. Alright, Nico, so first we're going to put the orange juice in the blender. This is fresh pressed orange juice. We've got about a cup there. Alright, so he's going to pour the orange juice in there. Alright, next we're going to go ahead and put about a cup of the coconut water in there.
Yeah.
And it's very important to get your kids involved in the process. He chose all the ingredients we're using today so that he'll like it and he'll feel a part of it. Now we're going to add a few cut up mangoes, and the problem with the mangoes is that as I was cutting the mangoes, he was eating them as fast as I was cutting them. So I had to cut a couple more. Alright, put them in there. Alright, now for an extra shot of nutrition, we're going to add some frozen blueberries. He loves them so much, he was snacking on them before we were even making the video. Next, we're going to go put some frozen strawberries. Now, the frozen fruits are really what gives the smoothie the good consistency. And finally, we're going to use some frozen bananas. And he's going to go ahead and put those in there. Now, bananas make things nice and creamy. All right, Nico, so once we got all the ingredients added in, Nico has to put the top on. And like I told you guys before, you have to put the top on correctly. So, Nico, do you remember how to put the top on?
Yeah, I remember. You just do it like this until you have to put it like this till it beeps.
Wow, till it beeps. You got it. It's so easy. All right, Nico, come around the front. And now you have to press the start button. Remember what the start button is?
Yeah.
So now the machine is ready to be programmed, and now it only takes one more button for Nico to press. It's the smoothie button, and he pressed it, and he pressed start, and it's already blending on its own. It was super simple, super easy. And the machine is blending at different speeds, and it's going to blend this smoothie on up into a really nice consistency. All right, can you count down, Nico? All right, 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And it stops automatically so that Nico didn't have to stop the blender. All right, Nico, you want to take the blender off and hand it to me? Can you take the top off? All right, hand me the whole blender. All right, so there he did. He made his own smoothie. We're going to go ahead and take the top off for him. We're going to go ahead and pour it in a little glass. Look at that nice consistency there. Whoa, almost overfilled the glass. All right, Nico, here, drink some of this smoothie and tell everybody what you think.
It's really good.
Is that like the best smoothie you ever had?
Yeah.
Did you like to make the smoothie yourself?
Yeah.
Or are you going to eat more fruits and vegetables if you could blend them up in the smoothie? In the Vento blender by Bugatti?
Yeah, and it's really good.
Anything else you want to say to the people out there that are watching?
This really tastes really good.
It tastes really good, made in the Bugatti Vento blender. And you guys could make your stuff for your kids and yourselves taste really good too, because it's fully automatic and grinds it up to really nice fine consistency so you don't have any fruit chunks. So you guys just saw how we ground flax seeds manually, controlling the blender with manual controls. Next we saw how my 7-year-old nephew was able to blend his own smoothie in the blender without having to worry about dials or controls, having the Bugatti Vento blender control automatically. Now we're going to take it up to the next level, a feature that I don't even know if any other blenders have this feature, but we're going to go over to this one, and this is called the Be Chef button, or for app recipes. So what you're going to do is you're going to take an Android phone or an iPhone, you're going to download the Be Chef app from the App Store. We're going to go ahead and hit that. It'll actually tell you can connect and log in. I'm just going to connect without login, and it's going to basically load it up here. This is the Be Chef program. And then the cool part of this program is they have a little search button. We're going to go ahead and hit that search button, and we're going to type in like some ingredients we have. So say we type in spinach, because that's what's in our fridge and that's what we need to use. And we're going to hit the search button, and it's going to come up with all the different recipes that contain spinach. So we're just going to go down and go to the green smoothie recipe, and it shows you the picture of the green smoothie, and it shows you it's gluten-free, lactose-free, low-fat, no added sugar, vegan, vegetarian, raw food, and it says a tasty green smoothie to enjoy every day. And then we're going to go ahead and click the ingredients button right in the middle, and it's going to tell you all the ingredients you need, and the ingredients are 3.5 ounces of baby spinach, which I have, 2 bananas, which I also have, 2 dates, which I have, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, and 1 tablespoon of chlorella powder, which I also have. And it says 350 milliliters of water, which actually I have. Actually, I put coconut water instead of regular water. I think coconut water is better than regular water. So we got all the ingredients. Now the cool thing is we're going to go to this other button here and hit the preparation button on the app. And it's going to give you 2 options. Do you want to do it with the Bugatti Chef or manual cooking? So we're going to go ahead and do it with the Bugatti Chef. And then it tells us that we could select the blender to connect to. So we got the Vento blender connects up through Bluetooth. And then it says sending a recipe. It sent the recipe now. And now this button is lit up. So the next step is we're just going to go ahead and hit the start button to turn us on, and we're going to hit the button for the app recipe button. So now that we've downloaded the recipe to the blender, we have to follow the directions on the screen, and it says prepare all the ingredients needed to make the recipe. Take the spinach, wash them, and put them in the jar, alright, which I'm going to do right now. Go ahead and dump all this 3.5 ounces of spinach in the jar. Then it's going to say cut the bananas and the dates and put them on top of the spinach. So we're going to go ahead and peel our 2 bananas here and put those in the jar. And remember, don't ever slip on your banana peels. I encourage you guys to compost all your food scraps. Nice ripe bananas for a tasty treat. Put some frozen bananas instead. Then it says, add the chia seeds and the chlorella and the water. Oh, actually we gotta add the dates. The chia seeds and the chlorella. And now we're gonna add the coconut water. Then we're gonna go ahead and put the top on the blender. And then you could hear the machine beep to let you know that it's ready to do something. And then it says, press the B button on the Vento display. It starts to blink. And the B button is now blinking. And now it says, good. Now press the start on display on the blender. Now, the app is telling you what the blender is doing. You guys can see it's running at a certain RPM, then it's going to change the RPM at different speeds. It's sucking the ingredients into the blender as it goes, and it tells you on the app that it's going to be running for 15,000 RPMs for 54 more seconds total. All right, so we got about 9 seconds left on the program here. And probably, I don't know, I can't see it on my iPhone. 1 second, now it's turned off and it tells you on the screen, step number 4 done, Vento Blender Green Smoothie, repeat or next step. We're gonna hit next step. And it says, well done, your green smoothie is ready, enjoy it. So now we're gonna go ahead and take our top off and we're gonna go ahead and check out our delicious green smoothie made in the Bugatti Vento Blender. Look at that nice consistency. Blended everything up. Now, the really interesting thing for me is to know if it actually blended up those chia seeds. Those chia seeds are really hard, kind of like flax seeds, and most blenders, they might just spin around and leave big chunks of chia seeds in there. I'm going to go ahead and taste and let you guys know. Wow. It ground them all up, and man, this is one delicious smoothie. I'm glad I made it, oh my God. But yeah, so even if you don't have any chef skills, you can make amazing recipes that are already existing on the app. And if you are a chef, I would encourage you guys to actually add your recipes to the Bugatti B-Chef app so that other Bugatti Vento Blender owners can download and use your app. And don't worry, even if you don't have the Vento Blender, you can actually use all the recipes manually with any other branded blender, but don't tell Bugatti I told you that, because they want you to buy theirs. But this allows you flexibility to use what you have in your fridge to search that, oh, I got lettuce, what can I make with lettuce in the blender? It'll come up with all the recipes with lettuce. So this will allow you to use more of your food and use it in recipes so you can get it inside of you instead of having it go to the landfill or compost because it is, getting old and going bad. So I really like this feature on the Bugatti Blender. Now to sum up the Bugatti Blender, basically this is the first time I've used it, and I used it in front of you guys for the first time with the flax. It did an amazing job. My flax seeds were a little bit too moist, but despite that, it still did an amazing job. You saw how my 7-year-old nephew easily blended up his own smoothie that he loved, and now I love this green smoothie thanks to the Bugatti B-Chef app. Quite amazed on how good it tastes. There's literally hundreds of other recipes on the B-Chef app you could be making and enjoying in your kitchen with the Bugatti Vento Blender. Now this machine, once again, I'm going to warn you guys, is a professional model. They, Bugatti got together with chefs, and that's how this machine got designed with their inputs so that it'd be fully flexible to, stir things, blend things, whisk things, knead things, mash things, grind things, and even emulsify things. So whether you're a vegetarian, a vegan, a paleo, carnivore, omnivore, whatever you are, this is going to be the best blender for you. And especially if you guys are chefs and you like to make different textures and do a lot of different things, this is the most programmable blender on the market today because it has 60 different speeds that you could adjust, set, and have it work automatically. Say you make a recipe in your kitchen every day, you could download it to the B-Chef button and just press the button and it's going to work automatically, varying the speeds so that you never overblend your items, which I would encourage you guys always to blend appropriately. Never overblend, never underblend, and the Bugatti B-Chef allows you to do just that. Yeah, I mean, the horsepower, the brushless motor, the sharp blades, I think this is definitely going to be a winner. If you enjoyed this video, hey, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know. Also, be sure to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. We are now offering the Bugatti B-Chef blender. So last thing I'd like to say is if you guys enjoyed this video, hey, please give me a thumbs up to let me know. Also, be sure to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. We sell a variety of different juicers and blenders, now including the Bugatti Vento blender, probably the best blender on the planet from what I've tested so far. And also be sure to click that subscribe button right down below to be notified of new and upcoming episodes that I have coming out about every 5 to 7 days. A few of the videos I'll be doing soon with the Bugatti is comparing this head-to-head to the Vitamix, head-to-head to the Blendtec and other brand blenders, so you will see what blender truly rules them all. Also be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 400 episodes with comparing different juicers and different blenders and dehydrators, so you guys can get the best appliance for you. And once again, I want to encourage you guys to eat more fruits and vegetables. These are the #1 powerhouse foods on the planet, and the Bugatti Vento blender allows you to do just that. So once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.